we used to not be able to feed them. Now we can pretty much feed them whatever we want. It's a big commitment from the, this is all NCAA driven, obviously, but it's a big commitment from our administration to be able. That's expensive. You're feeding 120 growing men. So, but it's been great.
Along that line, what did when she came in? What did she think? What were her plans as to improving what you were doing, and as a result, what does she think that would lead to? What's the end game of if you do get them to bet?
Kids actually eating. I mean, it like for us. I mean, we like to eat, right? I mean, most of us. I mean, you're a foodie, and we like to eat. I mean, I cooked last night, and it was outstanding. I'll tell you the menu. It was good. I mean, steaks and chicken and cornbread, corn on the cob, fresh green beans, cauliflower mixed in with olive oil and bacon, onions. It's really good. Baked potatoes, bacon, butter, sour cream, olive oil on the outside. It's really good. So along those lines, it's just, I mean, she comes up with the menu that our guys will eat. And so far, it's been really, really, really good. The presentation's obviously better in the back. But they're back there, and they sit down, and they're back there for about an hour. They eat. So the end game is you want that food to go in their system. Eating and sleeping is the key to recovering and getting back on the field as healthy as you can possibly get.
Is she to this extent of trying to keep guys from going and eating a McDonald's hamburger too?
Yeah, you'd like them to. I mean, as much as this time of the year, as much as we feed them, we can prevent it because we're giving them 4 meals a day. Really, when you get into the routine of us giving them like 1 meal a day, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go do that. We try to educate them to the point to what's good and what's bad. I remember days of kids would fall out in practice. And I'd be like, what's wrong with you? They're like, I'm starving. Because they'd like rush from class and they'd get over here and they'd get into meetings and then they'd go outside and they'd practice and they'd fall out because there's nothing in their system. And we really couldn't give them snacks and stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, we're asking them to go out there for 3 hours and sweat and run and all that stuff, and they don't have fuel in their body. Now it's different. Mike has a snack for them every day, 30 minutes before a meeting. So there's never that excuse ever again. We've got protein shakes, we got all the snacks down there, and we feed them sandwiches, and so that's not going to happen. But you're never going to prevent those kids from eating a late night McDonald's or a pizza or something like that. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
We can't give them 3 meals a day year round. Any more food questions? This is a great conversation. What'd you cook last night?
Leftover salmon from the night before. It was really good.
I had a sandwich. So I went yesterday. So I went back there. We had brunch yesterday. Yesterday was our recovery day. All right, so we couldn't practice yesterday. You got to give them a recovery day once a week. And I went back there. It opened at like 10:30. So we had a huge brunch. All right, there's a big pasta bar. So I walked in. I was checking this pasta bar out because it was the first time it'd been opened back there, and it had like 3 different kinds of pastas: chicken, shrimp, sausage. With whatever kind of sauce you want, whether you want white sauce or red sauce or whatever, they just say put that in that. And it's like, God, that looks good. But there was like 30 people in line. I was in a hurry, so I was like, all right, skip that. I go over to the omelet station. So I went over to the omelet station because it's brunch. It has 100 different kinds of omelets and all that. And I'm like, that looks pretty good too, but there's 30 people there. Once again, I was like, I don't have time to wait. So I went over to the other station where it's just the main deal, and it was pork tenderloin and salmon. So I had a sliced pork tenderloin with a piece of bread, and then I made a salmon salad. It had just 100 different options when it comes to the salad bar aspect of it. So I settled for a salmon salad. By that.
It's a good life.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Good
stuff.
For video in press room.
We'll treat you at some point. When are we going to do that, Mike?
It's not on the schedule right now.
Really? Wow. Yeah, we'll have to schedule that, because that's really good right there. I mean, it's really good.
Maybe for the weekend between the game, first game, there's a week going on there. We don't have much going on. Maybe we do.
We'll figure it out. Let's get that on the schedule. Because it's really good, but just to see it for how we're treating our guys, the student athletes and all that, our Shane and Steve and Kelly and those guys have done a great job of setting that up for us, and it's something to look into and write about and experience it. It's really good.
I had the Maisie at Bartini last night. I should have had the Holgorsen.
It's good. Blue cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I stopped in and got some sushi on the way home. That was our appetizer while I was cooking.
You're not falling out anytime soon.
That's right.
Dan, are you able to measure the difference from the nutrition and the effects as it applies to performance?
I don't know how you measure it. It's just one of those things where if it's working and there's no issues, it's thumbs up. I mean, Mike weighs them in and out like twice a day. So if a guy's dropping weight, then we're going to catch it pretty quick. And what's the number one reason why they drop weight? Well, it's the intake. We measure how much they're exerting energy with the GPSs and how much they're running. And, we can measure if they're working hard or if they're not working hard. And the science on the GPS aspect of it is unbelievable. I can go back and say this practice a year ago was the numbers, and then yesterday were the numbers, and I can compare different practices throughout the course of the year from year to year to year. So we know what they're exerting. If they're dropping weight, that means the intake's not where it needs to be. And we catch it, and then they go. We make them drink 4 Gatorades or whatever, and then we take them into the dining hall. And one of our strength coaches will sit with them, or Taylor will sit with them and say, "Eat this, and you ain't moving until you eat it." It's the whole thing like growing up as a kid. If you don't eat your peas, then you got to sit there until you eat your peas. I spent the night at the dinner table before growing up. But we sit there and we make them eat it.
Dana, as a coach, does it drive you nuts when you don't get a practice during camp like yesterday? I mean, are you just have you adjusted to that?
I thought it would. But it's good. We ask so much out of them out of the practices that we get. When I first started coaching at Valdosta State, we had 3-a-day practices. We had practice hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half in the afternoon, and like 45 minutes at night. So it was 3 days. We spent more time dressing than we did practicing. So with 1-a-day practices, we're literally out there about 3 hours, right? So you're out there for a long time. I thought I'd be concerned with it. The morning walkthroughs that we have are basically, we can use balls now. That's basically a practice in the morning that really doesn't technically count as a practice. No pads, but it's all mental. And half the practices that you focus on the mental aspect of teaching what to do anyway.
Does it help you got an older team?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it helps everything. With the least amount of practices, we got 25 practices, and I think we got about 6 walkthroughs. Some teams will have more walkthroughs based on the fact of when school starts. Once school starts, we start so early, that you can't have practices once you start school. The walkthroughs, we go to 20 hours once that starts. Teams that don't have school until like after Labor Day, huge advantage for them because they get as many walkthroughs as they possibly want. I think the NCAA needs to look at that. That's not fair. But we'll take our 25 practices and our 6 walkthroughs and we'll make the most out of it. Some teams will have more. Us having an experienced team probably alleviates the fact that we need that.
We mentioned working a third center. Have you ever had a third center ready to go?
We have 3 people that can snap it. I think we have 5 people that can snap it. We don't have 3 centers that can play. I don't know where he came up with that. I saw somebody write that. Believe it or not, I look at some of the stuff y'all write.
But at least 2, right?
We have 2. I feel really good about 2. Matt started 13 games for us last year. Butchie Grossi right now is ahead of him. That doesn't mean he's going to start, but right now he's running with the first team. He was hurt last year, so he couldn't play. We have 2. We don't have 3. Bryson Mays is going to be a good player for us, but he's a freshman and he's not going to play. Hopefully he
Dennis, speaking of that, and the freshmen, have you got in your mind what you want to do with the redshirt rule and play a guy a couple games and maybe hold him in case there's an emergency at the end?
Yeah, I've commented on this a lot. I don't know how we use it. I think we use it a bunch of different ways. I can see us like playing guys early and saying we need to put them on the shelf and get ready. I can see, game 8, this kid's like David Sills was, he's really making a lot of plays on scout team. Let's pull him up. Guys get hurt. We need a body, plug them in. Probably end up dressing and traveling more than we have. And if we need them, we use them. If we don't, we keep them on the sideline. I think there's a bunch of different ways to use it.
Do you think it differs from one position to another?
I don't. Nah, O-line, D-line is the hardest stuff to play at this level. But with that said, we played, 2 freshmen that weren't ready to play last year on the D-line. These guys weren't ready to play. We had to use them. So if we have a need and a void, we'll utilize them. But I don't want to Isaiah Hardy somebody. And what I mean by that, he played 60 snaps last year. Darius Stills played 40 snaps last year. We can probably save that and don't play him unless we absolutely have to, and save that year.
Jake snickered a little bit about the way Wick interchanges guys on the line in practice. You've been around a lot of O-line coaches. How unconventional is that? Or Jake said it's like a science experiment sometimes, and he knows there's a method to it. Is that something you've seen with other O-line coaches to that extent?
Yeah. Probably not to that extent, but we don't do it with our first team guys. It's really no different than what we do with receivers.
Mm-hmm.
The first team guys are first team guys. Don't move those guys around. The backups, you do all kinds of different stuff to see where they fit. Chase Barrett was playing tackle today with the second team. Move those guys around just to get the best ones out there. Gibby kind of does. He's alluded to that. He kind of does that with defense as well. Find the best 11, start them, don't screw with them, and then the backups, you can mess with that as much as you want to find what fits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hit for the first time full gear. You had full gear on for the first time Tuesday. What was your takeaway?
I was pleased with our situations. We did 2-minute, we did 4-minute, we did third and play it, which third downs, if you convert, you stay on the field. If you don't convert, then you have to run off the field. And we exchanged it with punt teams and PAT field goal teams. It flowed pretty good. I was happy with that. It was sloppy, which is expected. Played a lot of bodies and a lot of guys that aren't quite ready to play yet. Never going to look good. Overall, I was pleased with it. It was physical.
Your assistants mentioned depth. Where do you see it in your eyes? You feel pretty good about what you have depth wise?
No.
Okay.
We gotta keep practicing. we got a lot more bodies that I think are capable of helping us. We still got 20 practices to go. It's a long ways to go. I make a big deal about the depth chart aspect of things still doesn't exist. We got guys competing, so it's gonna be a fun camp to be able to figure out who our starters are.
Does it look like football 2s and 3s?
No, absolutely not. Not yet.
What have you seen from your defense?
I like our maturity on the D-line. Those old guys, Jabril has looked good, Kenny has looked good. They have brought maturity to our D-line. They're grown men. And Zeke's old, Reese is old. So it's nice to be able to have older, mature guys. It reminds me, and I don't know, I think these guys have a chance to be better than 2 years ago, when we had Christian and Noble and Darian, 3 seniors, old guys, 5th-year seniors, and a 4th-year senior. program guys that have been here for a long time, those guys are mature. It gives you a chance to be successful. If you got young guys at those spots, then you got no chance. And that's where we were last year. So we have older, mature guys that talk and have played football and understand the game. And you know, it gives that second level and that third level, which we have a lot of experience in that second level and that third level. It gives them a chance to do their job.
And how do you bring in guys that have played 3-4 years at other schools, graduate transfers or whatever, and get them as gung-ho as you want them about playing what you did?
The summer helps, you know, having those guys all summer. That's critical. You know, I think if if those two guys showed up August 1, like say Rasul did his junior year, it'd take him a while to get acclimated to the way things are here. Those guys were here all of June and all of July. We worked with them as a staff all of June. The guys got to know them a little bit. It helps to have like Kenny, who's like best friends with like Nikhil and Wendell and David Sills and you know that whole crew. So he came in comfortable. You know, him and Jabril have kind of connected, and that's made that transition easier as well. But to answer your question, Bob, probably this summer.
You know, what has Shea Campbell done to go from walk on to probably going to play a pretty significant role this year?
Yeah, he's earned a scholarship. Okay, so he's on scholarship. He's I don't know if he's took a snap yet though. But just Gibby loves him. He's smart. You know, reminds us a lot of Justin Arndt, you know, West Virginia kid that walked on and you know, does everything right. Good football player. Shows up in practice. Did a great job for us on the scout team last year. He's going to be on a bunch of special teams and a backup linebacker right now. So hopefully he lives up to what we think he can do.
Okay, you talked about competition. What about the kicker situation? You got two kids there that full scholarship. What do you
Yeah,
see?
Evan is he's a clear-cut number one at PAT field goal. He's kicking the ball very well. We got some competition on as a backup kicker. You know, Hogan and Simcox, those guys are competing right now. Billy looks really good. Billy's been on the shelf for about 6 months. I can't remember if he finished spring or not, but he looks good. We haven't got into the competition aspect of the kickoff yet. We'll get into that next week. That's really the only competition right now.
Would you like,
Deep snapper and kickoff guy are our competition right
would you like if Evan wins the place kicking job, would you like him separate from the kickoff job?
now. You'd like that if you had 3 different ones that can just focus on that, but then you got to talk about who's the backup. So those guys got to do it anyway. So at that point, if you know, there's been guys that do all 3. Did Pat do all 3? I believe he did. That's rare, but it's been done before. You got to be pretty talented in order to do it. But doing 2, I think, is realistic.
Coach Gary Jennings said that Coach Carrier has paired some of the older wide receivers with younger players to mentor. Is that something that's been done in the past, and have you seen any benefit from it already?
Yeah, and that's a summer conversation as well. You know, when those guys got here in the summer, we paired up Sam with TJ and Randy with Gary and I think Bryce with David or something, and just to help those guys out. we can coach them 2 hours a week in the summer, which isn't very much. So you want those guys to be able to kind of just do what they do, just follow them around and do what they do. And my goal, you know, we have 4 older backup receivers. We have 4 starters, 4, and I ain't going to say who they are, but my mindset right now, 4 starting receivers. We got 4 backup receivers that are all old, been here for like 3 or 4 years, and then we got like 4 freshmen or them. I'm trying to get those freshmen to be number 2s. So the backups right now should be panicking that the older guys are helping the younger guys to try to beat out the older backup guys. Please print that quick.
I know you love talking about kickers. Is Evan
Since when?
exactly? Is Evan there because he's accurate? And if you had to try a 59-yarder for giggles at the end of a half, would it be Simcox in that situation, or is Evan?
No, Evan, he knocked through a 54-yarder yesterday, 53-yarder yesterday, and had some space. He's striking the ball really well. He's earned a scholarship. He's striking the ball really well. Those other guys got to keep competing. You know, I mean, that's the way things go.
This is not an injury question, I promise, but your two guys who aren't there, are they part of your 105 right now, or have you swapped them out?
No, they're not. So they can be here and get treated and eat. They just can't be a part of any football activities. So they're not in meetings. They're not in walkthroughs. They're not a part of any of that. They're just rehabbing all day long. Rehabbing and eating and sleeping and doing all the necessary things to get back on the field. I've got
You can
walls
add
and ferns.
you can add two guys and you shuttle them out, correct? Walk off.
We just never added them. So like we reported with 110, and those two guys were not a part of the 110. So, but they can be here and they can get treated and they can use the facilities and they can eat. Technically, they were still in school for a while, so they just can't be a part of football right now.
That changes when the semester starts.
And then once school starts, then they're be in meetings. They'll be a part of walkthroughs. They're both doing good. They look good. They're both two kids that have played a lot for us, and they will play this year. At what point, I don't know. It's a medical decision.